The galaxy trembled as the Deathworlder fleet struck. Humanity's colonies were burning, fleets shattered, hope fading. Then, from the shadows of history, Terran dreadnoughts awoke. Massive, unstoppable, their weapons blazing. Pilots, engineers, and civilians united for survival. Watch courage, strategy, and human spirit clash with an unstoppable alien force. The war for the stars has begun. Subscribe now to witness the epic fight. Humanity had spread across the stars for decades, colonies thriving on planets with blue skies, green forests, and oceans that mirrored Earth's own beauty. People built towering cities, busy spaceports, and automated farms. Life seemed safe and comfortable. In these settlements, people moved freely, exploring markets, parks, and neighborhoods, confident that the fleets patrolling nearby space would protect them from any threat. Technology was everywhere, from personal hover vehicles to planetary defense grids, giving a sense of control over the universe. Schools taught children about interstellar travel, diplomacy, and science, painting a future where humanity had nothing to fear. Earth's fleets had grown massive over the years, designed to maintain peace and protect colonies from piracy, rogue factions, or alien threats. Human commanders coordinated patrols, scouting missions, and surveillance satellites, creating networks that covered light years of space. Colonists watched the sky with fascination rather than fear, seeing fleet ships gliding gracefully between planets, ready to intervene at any sign of danger. Scientists published reports on cosmic phenomena, and none predicted a real danger lurking beyond known space. Confidence became comfort. Comfort became carelessness, and people forgot the stories of old wars, of how fragile life could be in a universe so vast. Even scientists debated the existence of hostile alien species, dismissing warnings as paranoia or outdated myths. Conferences were held where researchers laughed at theories of aggressive extraterrestrials, claiming that intelligent life was likely peaceful or indifferent. Private corporations focused on mining rare minerals and exploring new planets, building luxury settlements with advanced defenses. But even these were more for show than actual preparation for war. Citizens trusted in security systems, in fleets, in treaties, in everything that promised safety. They assumed that no civilization could threaten humanity with the technology and strategy humans had developed. Families went about daily life with ease. Children playing in artificial parks, parents working in spaceports, scientists exploring new colonies. Everyone believed the galaxy was mapped and understood, that danger could be predicted, managed, and neutralized. Entertainment channels broadcast stories of exploration, adventure, and human triumph over nature, reinforcing the idea that nothing could harm them. Yet beneath this calm, faint anomalies began to appear, sensors picking up odd energy signatures, freighters disappearing for no reason, small colonies reporting strange phenomena. None of these caused alarm, and most reports were dismissed as equipment errors or natural cosmic events. The illusion of safety was powerful enough to silence doubt. On Earth, political leaders celebrated human expansion as the greatest achievement in history. Commemorative events showcased the strength and unity of colonies, highlighting technological milestones and fleet power. Speeches reminded citizens that humanity had reached the stars and that no known threat could challenge their dominance. Colonists listened, reassured and proud, feeling invincible. In remote sectors, young pilots trained in virtual simulations, never expecting to face real war. Engineers fine-tuned ships for exploration, not combat. And diplomats negotiated peaceful trade agreements. All of this reinforced the belief that humanity had mastered its fate, that danger was something for history books, not for the present. Yet, in the quiet corners of space, shadows moved beyond sensors. Energy patterns fluctuated in ways that didn't fit natural models. Communication delays prevented scientists from seeing the bigger picture. Small incidents scattered across sectors were unconnected, leaving humanity blind to the threat forming at the edges of known space. For now, humans slept under a blanket of false security, unaware that the universe held forces beyond their comprehension, forces that would soon shatter their peace, and force every colonist, soldier, and scientist to realize that safety was never guaranteed. The colonies continued to flourish, cities lighting up planets with neon colors, fleets gliding silently through orbit, people traveling between worlds without worry. Life seemed endless and predictable. But the first whispers of the unknown were already stirring, signals from the void hinting at an approaching storm. Something would arrive that no fleet, no defense grid, and no plan could fully prepare for. The sense of calm, of safety, of invincibility would vanish. And humanity would face the harsh reality of the galaxy. A reality where survival depended on courage, adaptation, and the ability to fight against forces that did not understand mercy. Sensors on the edge of explored space began picking up unusual readings, faint energy spikes that did not match any known celestial phenomenon. Scientists studied them, running simulations and comparing the patterns with databases of stellar activity, but nothing fit. Even the most advanced algorithms struggled to identify the source. Fleet commanders noticed the strange anomalies on their monitors, ships recording fleeting blips that vanished before they could investigate. Messages were exchanged between colonies. Freighters reported minor disturbances, crew members describing sudden communication blackouts and strange lights in the distance. Yet most officials dismissed these as glitches, natural cosmic events, or minor equipment failures, convinced that nothing could threaten human colonies without leaving obvious signs. Despite reassurances, anxiety began to stir among those stationed at remote outposts. Pilots whispered about encounters with ships that seemed to appear and disappear from sensors. Astronomers debated whether these anomalies were artificial or natural, the tension building as data continued to pour in. Colonists far from Earth felt uneasy as minor incidents occurred. Cargo ships arriving late without explanation, small mining outposts losing contact for hours. No official warnings were issued, but rumors spread quickly, fueling fear in small pockets of the population. People began to wonder if something beyond their understanding was observing them, testing defenses, or preparing to strike. The first disappearances caused shock. A freighter carrying essential supplies vanished near the outer rim. No distress signals, no debris, nothing to indicate what had happened. Another ship reported an unidentifiable object moving at impossible speeds, forcing them to make emergency evasive maneuvers. Captains shared information discreetly, knowing that reporting openly might cause panic. Fleet intelligence teams worked around the clock to make sense of the chaos. They began to notice patterns, small but consistent, energy bursts aligned with the routes of civilian traffic, mysterious signals originating from uncharted sectors, the pieces forming an ominous picture. Despite these growing signs, the public remained largely unaware. Colonies continued their daily routines, families enjoying parks and marketplaces, students attending schools, everyone assuming that the fleets would handle any threat before it reached them. Fleet exercises continued, commanders testing strategies in simulations, confident that even the worst-case scenario could be managed. Technicians calibrated sensors, ran diagnostics, and updated navigation software, preparing for normal emergencies. Never imagining what was truly approaching, scientists began to voice concerns in private meetings, questioning whether humanity had underestimated the unknown. They warned that the anomalies suggested intelligent design, that a force capable of moving undetected at these speeds could pose a catastrophic threat. Military strategists reluctantly considered contingency plans, analyzing how to defend colonies without provoking what they could not fully understand. Meanwhile, traders and miners continued their routines, blissfully unaware, as the void beyond familiar space seemed to shift in ways they could not perceive. Communication delays across vast distances made coordination difficult. Reports from distant colonies arrived late, often fragmented, causing confusion and misinterpretation. Small incidents that could have been warnings were overlooked, buried in the vast flow of information. Fleet commanders struggled to create a coherent picture, while alien patterns of movement remained enigmatic, unpredictable, and alarming in subtle ways. In private, engineers and scientists hypothesized about possible alien technology, comparing it to human designs, wondering if it could bypass shields, move faster than known propulsion, or even manipulate energy in ways humanity had never imagined. Fear began to quietly spread in remote sectors, a sense that something was watching, calculating, waiting. Civilians sensed tension among fleet personnel. Rumors circulated of ships being diverted for secret missions, strange signals detected but unreported to the public. Yet life continued on colonies, oblivious to the growing storm. Families celebrated festivals, workers built new facilities, children played under artificial suns, believing that the galaxy was predictable and secure, even as the unknown forces that would soon shatter that belief drew closer. Finally, analysts realized the truth. These anomalies were not natural. They were deliberate, precursors to an approaching armada, a fleet unlike any humanity had faced before. A message was sent to Central Command, but the warning was already late. Only fragments of data could be assembled, giving hints of a force far stronger, faster, and more relentless than anything the fleets were prepared for. Humanity's false confidence, nurtured for decades, was about to be tested. And those who had ignored the signs would soon understand that the universe did not follow the rules they had trusted. The small, scattered warnings, the strange energy patterns, the unexplained disappearances, all pointed to one undeniable reality. Something was coming, something that would challenge every assumption about safety, technology, and human ingenuity. And while colonies remained blissfully unaware, fleet commanders and scientists braced for the moment when the first contact would arrive. A moment that would change humanity forever. Without warning, the Deathworlder fleet emerged from hyperspace, a wall of enormous warships appearing in human-controlled space. The first glimpses of the alien vessels stunned fleet commanders, their size, shape, and energy emissions unlike anything recorded before. Each ship bristled with weapons that defied known physics, energy cannons that could shred planetary defenses, propulsion systems allowing impossible maneuvers. Humanity had never faced an enemy so advanced, so overwhelming. Panic rippled across colonies as alarms sounded. Cities scrambled to enact evacuation protocols, people fleeing to shelters and orbiting stations. Fleet squadrons rushed to intercept, but the Deathworlders moved faster, striking with precision and brutality. The initial attacks were devastating. Entire cities reduced to rubble within hours. Communications were cut off from dozens of colonies, leaving commanders to piece together the scale of the assault from partial sensor readings. Civilian freighters attempting to escape were intercepted, their crews captured or destroyed. The universe that humans had taken for granted, full of predictable laws and safety, now seemed hostile and unforgiving. Fleet officers struggled to coordinate defense strategies, realizing that traditional tactics were useless against the alien speed and firepower. Every engagement ended with heavy losses, and every counterattack revealed more of the Deathworlder's terrifying capabilities. Colonists watched from orbital stations, witnessing explosions lighting up the skies of their homeworlds. The shock and fear were overwhelming. Families huddled in shelters as the fleet above engaged in battles that seemed impossible to win. Civilians had assumed fleets and defense grids could handle any threat. Yet the reality was far beyond anything imagined. News channels broadcast fragmented reports of destruction, scientists and engineers attempting to explain what was happening. But even their knowledge was limited. The Deathworlders seemed to anticipate every move, striking where humans were weakest, exploiting patterns that commanders hadn't even considered. In the chaos, individual acts of courage began to emerge, small squadrons of pilots taking daring maneuvers to protect fleeing colonies, engineers improvising with outdated ships, trying to augment shields or weapon systems, civilians volunteering to help maintain and repair damaged defense grids. Humanity's instinct to survive kicked in. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, fleet commanders attempted to reorganize, forming mobile strike groups to slow the enemy. But each engagement cost lives and resources, making it clear that survival depended not just on strength, but on adaptability, intelligence, and strategy. The Deathworlder fleet was relentless, moving through human space like a storm, each planet facing devastation in sequence. Observers noted their unusual tactics, attacking multiple targets simultaneously, adapting to human responses in real time. This forced humanity to rethink every assumption about space warfare, from fleet formations to planetary defense. Scientists and strategists began analyzing alien technology, hoping to find weaknesses, while military leaders prepared desperate measures to protect what remained. Colonists were evacuated en masse where possible, entire populations transported to safer systems, though not all could escape. The sense of security that had defined human expansion evaporated completely, replaced by terror and uncertainty. Even in the face of such horror, communication and coordination became critical. Fleets attempted to share intelligence, but the speed and adaptability of the Deathworlders made it nearly impossible to act on incomplete information. Each battle revealed more about the enemy, but also cost more human lives, forcing commanders to balance risk and necessity. The idea that humans were safe anywhere in the galaxy was shattered, leaving only the stark reality that survival depended on courage, ingenuity, and willingness to fight under impossible conditions. As the Deathworlders pressed forward, humanity began to understand the scale of the challenge, the vast technological and tactical gap that separated them from this unstoppable force. Amidst destruction, hope remained. Small victories and clever maneuvers provided proof that humans could adapt, that bravery, strategy, and sacrifice could achieve results even against overwhelming odds. Engineers salvaged damaged ships, scientists improvised with alien technology glimpsed in battle, and fleet commanders experimented with untested formations. Each day became a desperate struggle for survival, a test of humanity's ability to respond to a threat beyond imagination. Civilians and soldiers alike learned that nothing could be taken for granted, that every decision, every action could mean life or death. The initial shock of the Deathworlders' arrival gave way to a grim determination. Humanity was not ready for this battle, but it would not surrender. The war had begun, and the galaxy that once seemed safe was now a battlefield. The enormity of the Deathworlders' power was clear, yet the human spirit, resilient and inventive, began to emerge as the only hope against annihilation. Every planet, every fleet, every individual would play a role in the struggle to survive. And humanity would soon learn that courage and strategy could challenge even the deadliest foe. Earth convened an emergency council, gathering the brightest minds in science, strategy, and diplomacy. The war room buzzed with tension as military leaders, engineers, and researchers shared the first reports of the Deathworlder attacks. Screens displayed the scale of devastation, planets in flames, fleets scattered, colonies struggling to survive. There was no time for hesitation. Humanity had to act, quickly and decisively. Teams were formed to analyze every piece of data, every sensor reading, looking for patterns, weaknesses, or anything that could give them an advantage. Scientists worked alongside generals, blending theory and tactics, trying to predict the enemy's next move. Small reconnaissance missions were planned. Volunteer pilots daring enough to venture near the Deathworlder fleet to gather intelligence. Every mission was dangerous. Ships slipping through alien patrols, risking destruction. But the information returned was invaluable, revealing insights into the fleet's formations, weapon systems, and movement patterns. Engineers used this data to design countermeasures, retrofitting existing ships with experimental shields, stealth technology, and new weapon systems. Civilians contributed too, technicians working around the clock to maintain communications, repair damaged fleets, and support evacuation efforts. The collective effort sparked a sense of unity and determination, humanity realizing that survival required cooperation at every level. Colonists in threatened systems were evacuated when possible, massive space stations and fortified planets becoming temporary refuges. Families were transported through convoys of ships, while smaller settlements relied on local militia and improvised defenses. Even in the chaos, acts of courage inspired others. Pilots risking everything to escort transports, engineers defying danger to restore damaged systems, civilians volunteered to aid relief efforts, delivering supplies and maintaining order. The fear that had gripped humanity began to be balanced by resolve, as people understood that survival was now a shared responsibility. Strategists devised long-term plans, realizing that head-on battles were suicidal. Instead, they focused on intelligence, adaptability, and precision strikes. Fleet commanders divided forces into mobile units capable of rapid response, scouting ahead, and drawing enemy attention. While scientists and engineers worked on improving weapons, shields, and sensors, experimenting with untested ideas, every innovation could make the difference between survival and annihilation. Even minor successes boosted morale. A single well-placed attack disrupting a Deathworlder patrol could save thousands of lives, teaching humanity that clever thinking often mattered more than sheer strength. Meanwhile, analysts studied past human conflicts, looking for lessons that could apply to fighting the alien fleet. Historical tactics were adapted to the vastness of space, using deception, feints, and unpredictable maneuvers. Pilots trained relentlessly, simulating engagements against alien tactics, learning to anticipate attacks that seemed impossible. Every colony, every fleet, every station contributed to the growing web of resistance. The knowledge that everyone played a role strengthened resolve, transforming fear into action and despair into determination. Despite careful planning, losses were inevitable. Each engagement with the Deathworlders came at a cost, yet every setback taught humanity valuable lessons. Fleet commanders learned to adapt strategies quickly, engineers improved designs under pressure, and civilians developed resilience in the face of uncertainty. Communication networks became critical, linking fleets, colonies, and intelligence teams, allowing rapid response and coordinated counterattacks. Humanity discovered that survival depended not only on technology, but on courage, teamwork, and the ability to improvise under extreme conditions. The experience also revealed human creativity and ingenuity. Engineers devised energy shields that absorbed attacks partially. Pilots used the vastness of space to hide and strike unexpectedly. Scientists identified minor flaws in alien designs that could be exploited. Every discovery, no matter how small, became a tool in the fight, demonstrating that adaptability was humanity's greatest weapon. Civilian scientists and engineers often worked alongside military teams, creating innovations in days that previously would have taken months. The desperation of the situation accelerated progress, forcing humanity to evolve faster than ever before. Even as fear remained, a sense of hope began to take root. Humanity understood that survival depended on courage, strategy, and unity. People learned to trust in each other, to take initiative, and to face danger head-on. Colonists found strength in community. Pilots found purpose in protecting others. Scientists and engineers found meaning in creating solutions against impossible odds. Together, these efforts formed the backbone of humanity's resistance, a fragile but determined force ready to confront the Deathworlders. Each small victory, each clever maneuver, reinforced the belief that humans could fight back, that they could survive, and perhaps eventually reclaim their lost sense of security. By blending courage, innovation, and careful planning, humanity had begun to fight back, learning that even in the face of overwhelming power, intelligence and cooperation could turn the tide. The universe no longer seemed safe, but it was no longer hopeless either. Every decision, every act of bravery brought humanity closer to understanding that survival was not guaranteed, but it was possible if they were willing to fight, adapt, and endure. A small fleet of human ships was assembled for a daring counterattack, each vessel carefully chosen for speed, maneuverability, and specialized weaponry. Pilots trained relentlessly for this mission, studying alien tactics, learning to predict movements that seemed impossible. The fleet slipped through patrolled sectors, avoiding detection while approaching a scouting armada of the Deathworlders. Every second was tense, sensors picking up alien ships, crews holding their breath as the enemy drew closer. Engineers monitored systems, making last-minute adjustments to shields, energy weapons, and navigation, knowing that even a minor failure could mean total destruction. The first engagement was sudden, a clash of technology and strategy. Humans used stealth and decoys, luring parts of the Deathworlder fleet into traps. Energy beams lit up the void, missiles streaked across space, and explosions shook both sides. Despite their smaller numbers, the human fleet relied on creativity and coordination, striking at weak points in alien formations, rather than charging blindly. Pilots executed precise maneuvers, weaving between enemy fire, dodging devastating attacks, and retaliating with concentrated strikes that damaged alien vessels. Every hit was celebrated, every successful evasion a small triumph, morale rising despite the fear. The battle was costly, losses mounting as Deathworlders responded with brutal efficiency. Ships were torn apart, crews lost in seconds, and entire formations scattered. Yet humanity learned quickly, adjusting tactics mid-battle, observing patterns in alien behavior, and exploiting vulnerabilities. Engineers noted that certain energy weapons had brief cooldowns. Shield generators could be overloaded under specific conditions. Every new observation was immediately shared, and the fleet adapted, using these insights to gain small but meaningful advantages. Civilians following the conflict from orbiting stations watched anxiously, hoping the small fleet could hold its ground. As the fight continued, The humans realized that speed, intelligence, and precision could balance against the raw power of the Deathworlders. They targeted supply ships and scouting vessels, disrupting coordination and forcing the alien armada to react defensively. Every successful strike slowed the enemy, giving colonies more time to evacuate. Scientists on board used live data to predict enemy maneuvers, calculating trajectories and firing solutions faster than the human eye could follow. The battle became a test of wits as much as firepower, with pilots, engineers, and strategists working as one. Every small victory brought hope, showing that humans could fight back, even in the face of overwhelming force. Amidst the chaos, moments of heroism stood out. A pilot shielded a convoy of evacuees, sacrificing their own ship to buy time. Engineers repaired critical systems while under fire, keeping weapons and shields operational. Civilians assisted remotely, rerouting energy and communications to support the fleet. Humanity's collective effort shone in these acts, proving that courage and determination were as important as technology. Every loss reminded them of the stakes. But every triumph reinforced the possibility of survival, showing that even a small, smartly deployed force could challenge the Deathworlders. The encounter also taught humanity about the limits of brute force. They realized that large head-on attacks were suicidal, that survival depended on strategy, observation, and adaptation. Commanders refined plans, creating flexible units capable of rapid movement, deception, and focused strikes. Every maneuver was calculated, minimizing risk while maximizing potential gains. Even minor successes, such as disabling a single alien ship or forcing a retreat, provided valuable lessons for future operations. Each engagement contributed to the growing understanding of the enemy, humanity learning, adapting, and evolving in real time. The counterstrike had psychological effects as well. Both humans and aliens adjusted to the new reality. The Deathworlders began responding cautiously, wary of tactics they had not anticipated. Humans, meanwhile, gained confidence, discovering that clever thinking and precise execution could achieve what sheer numbers could not. Engineers documented every anomaly. Pilots trained on simulated versions of the encounters. Strategists revised their approaches, integrating lessons from each battle. Humanity's ability to learn faster than the enemy became a critical weapon. Despite the bravery and ingenuity, the fleet knew the battle was only the beginning. Every strike had a cost. Every loss was felt deeply. Yet the first counterattack proved that humans could challenge the Deathworlders, that courage, intelligence, and determination could overcome seemingly impossible odds. The mission ended with retreat, repairs, and reflection, but the knowledge gained would fuel future engagements. Humanity realized that survival depended not just on firepower, but on adaptability, teamwork, and the willingness to take calculated risks. The first counterstrike, though costly, became a turning point, demonstrating that strategy and ingenuity could match overwhelming force. Humanity had learned that they could fight back, that even against the terrifying Deathworlder fleet, clever tactics, precision, and courage could make a difference. Every victory, no matter how small, became a stepping stone towards survival and eventual triumph. And the fight for the stars had truly begun. Deep in the outer reaches of human-controlled space, archaeologists and engineers discovered ancient Terran dreadnoughts, massive warships built centuries ago and long forgotten. Buried within hidden stations and protected by old security protocols, these relics had never been activated. Their design was unlike anything in current fleets, equipped with advanced weaponry, energy shields, and propulsion systems that dwarfed modern technology. The rediscovery sent waves of excitement through military and scientific communities. These ships represented a chance to finally match the power of the Deathworlder fleet. Crews were assembled, consisting of the most skilled pilots, engineers, and technicians, ready to awaken the legendary vessels from their dormant state. Reactivation was far from simple. Engineers worked around the clock to bring the ships online, repairing centuries-old systems, recalibrating energy cores, and updating navigation algorithms to interact with modern technology. Every component required careful attention. A single mistake could destroy the ship or render it useless. Pilots trained on simulators, learning to handle ships much larger and more powerful than any they had flown before. Coordination between teams became critical, each action impacting the others, and the slightest miscalculation could result in catastrophic failure. The sense of history and responsibility weighed heavily, knowing these dreadnoughts had once been humanity's ultimate guardians. Once power was restored, the ships hummed to life, engines glowing with energy, weapon systems activating, shields generating protective fields. The sheer scale of the vessels inspired awe and hope, a tangible sign that humanity had tools capable of challenging the Deathworlders. Scientists monitored energy outputs and weapon calibrations, optimizing them to modern warfare needs, while engineers reinforced hulls and rerouted power to critical systems, ensuring the ships could survive sustained combat. Civilians and fleet personnel watched anxiously, realizing that these ancient ships represented the first real chance at turning the tide. Training continued relentlessly. Pilots learned to manage the enormous energy demands, coordinate massive weapon systems, and navigate the unique handling of the dreadnoughts. Simulated battles recreated Deathworlder tactics, forcing crews to adapt to enemy strategies far different from human designs. Engineers tested every weapon, shield, and propulsion system under maximum stress conditions, ensuring that when real combat came, nothing would fail. Morale soared as humans gained confidence. The knowledge that these legendary ships could tip the balance, igniting a renewed determination across fleets and colonies. The dreadnoughts' weapons were devastating. Energy cannons capable of piercing even the strongest alien shields, missiles and torpedoes designed for precise strikes, targeting vital systems of enemy ships. Shields absorbed and redistributed energy attacks, allowing crews to survive volleys that would have destroyed conventional vessels. Propulsion systems allowed sudden jumps and evasive maneuvers far beyond modern fleet capabilities. Analysts studied potential weaknesses in Deathworlder formations, planning strategies that fully leveraged the dreadnought's strengths. Humanity realized that with these ships, they could not only survive, but fight back effectively. Coordination between ancient and modern fleets became a priority. Dreadnought crews communicated with smaller human ships, creating mixed strike groups capable of executing complex maneuvers. Fleets practiced combined operations, integrating reconnaissance, firepower, and protection for civilian convoys. Every drill, every simulation brought crews closer to readiness, understanding the immense responsibility of wielding such power against a formidable enemy. Colonists followed the progress with awe, hope blossoming where fear had once dominated. The dreadnoughts were more than just ships. They symbolized humanity's resilience, ingenuity, and ability to rise against impossible odds. As activation neared completion, fleet commanders revised plans for the upcoming battles. Analyzing Deathworlder tactics and previous engagements, they devised strategies that fully utilized the dreadnought's advantages. Mobile strike groups, coordinated assaults, and targeted defenses were integrated into broader plans to protect colonies and reclaim lost territory. Pilots and crews drilled relentlessly, preparing for the first real engagement against the alien fleet. Knowing that failure could mean total annihilation, the pressure was immense, but so was the determination to succeed. The awakening of the Terran dreadnoughts sent a message across human space, signaling that humanity was ready to fight back. Fear and despair among colonies began to give way to cautious optimism. Every system, every fleet, every colonist understood that survival now had a fighting chance. The ancient ships, once forgotten relics, had become symbols of hope, strategy, and power. A new chapter in humanity's struggle was beginning, one where courage, intelligence, and the combined strength of past and present technology could finally challenge the unstoppable Deathworlder threat. The countdown to the first engagement began, and the galaxy held its breath, ready to witness humanity's resurgence. The combined human fleets, now strengthened by the awakened Terran dreadnoughts, moved into formation, ready to confront the Deathworlder armada. Every ship, from the smallest fighter to the massive dreadnoughts, had a specific role. The fleet commanders coordinated through encrypted channels, ensuring that each maneuver was precise, timing critical as the alien ships approached. Energy shields shimmered across the vessels, weapon systems charged and calibrated. Crews tense but determined, the vastness of space became the battlefield. Stars and planets forming the backdrop for a conflict that would decide the survival of humanity. The first clash was sudden and violent. Deathworlder warships attacking with incredible speed and firepower. Energy beams tore through space, missiles streaked past, and explosions lit up the void. Smaller human ships darted between massive alien vessels, using evasive maneuvers and precise targeting to strike weak points. Dreadnoughts unleashed devastating volleys, their weapons cutting through alien defenses, proving that humanity could stand against the seemingly unstoppable enemy. Every maneuver, every shot, every decision mattered, and crews worked in perfect synchronization, combining courage, intelligence, and skill to survive the chaos. As the battle raged, humans discovered that combining ancient technology with modern tactics was effective. Dreadnoughts acted as anchors, absorbing enemy fire and drawing attention, while smaller ships executed flanking maneuvers, disrupting alien formations. Pilots coordinated attacks with ground-based sensors and orbital stations, creating a network of real-time intelligence that allowed rapid adaptation. Engineers monitored systems, rerouting energy to shields or weapons as needed, ensuring maximum efficiency under pressure. Civilians and fleet personnel watched from orbiting stations, hoping for any sign that humanity could resist. The Deathworlders adapted quickly, altering their tactics in response to human strategies. They targeted dreadnoughts with focused attacks, testing the limits of their shields and weapon systems. Every engagement revealed new challenges, forcing human commanders to think creatively and respond immediately. Pilots performed daring maneuvers, weaving through enemy fire, drawing attention away from vulnerable ships, and striking at critical systems. Engineers and scientists analyzed the results in real time, finding opportunities to exploit. Humanity's ability to learn and adapt became a decisive factor, turning fear into calculated action. Amid the chaos, acts of heroism became common. Individual pilots sacrificed their ships to protect convoys. Engineers risked lives repairing systems under fire, and commanders made split-second decisions that saved thousands. Every act of bravery inspired others, reinforcing the belief that survival depended on courage and cooperation. Not all battles went perfectly. Losses were heavy, entire squadrons destroyed, colonies damaged, yet each setback taught humanity valuable lessons, improving strategies, refining tactics, and enhancing coordination. Every encounter strengthened the resolve of those still standing, proving that even in the darkest moments, ingenuity and determination could prevail. The battle also revealed the psychological edge humanity possessed. Unlike the aliens, humans could improvise, anticipate, and adapt, learning faster from mistakes and successes. Commanders used deception, feints, and sudden attacks to confuse the enemy, exploiting the dreadnought's power to maximum effect. Pilots developed instinctive trust in one another, working as cohesive units to outmaneuver a technologically superior foe. Civilians contributed by maintaining communications, repairing orbital defenses, and ensuring supply lines remained open. Every individual played a role, from the youngest technician to the most experienced admiral, demonstrating that collective effort was humanity's strongest weapon. As the engagement continued, it became clear that the Deathworlders were not invincible. Their formations faltered under constant pressure, isolated ships destroyed by precision strikes, and supply lines disrupted. Human fleets exploited every weakness discovered, forcing the aliens to react defensively. Humanity realized that strength alone did not determine victory. Strategy, coordination, and adaptability could turn the tide. Dreadnoughts acted as both shields and weapons, absorbing massive energy attacks while delivering devastating retaliation, proving that ancient technology combined with modern ingenuity could match the alien threat. By the end of the first major engagement, the Deathworlder fleet, though still powerful, had been pushed back, their advance slowed and formations disrupted. Human ships, battered but triumphant, regrouped to protect colonies and plan the next attack. Every victory came at a cost, lives lost, ships destroyed, and planets damaged, yet the morale boost was immense. Crews celebrated small successes, knowing that each battle was a step toward survival. Humanity had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the deadliest foe, and that the fight for the stars was far from over. The first stand of the combined human fleets marked a turning point, a moment when fear was met with resolve, chaos met with strategy, and overwhelming power met with human ingenuity. Humanity had faced annihilation and survived, learning that while the Deathworlders were formidable, the spirit, Adaptability and determination of humans could create hope in the darkest void. Every pilot, engineer, and strategist knew that this was only the beginning, and the war for survival had entered a new, decisive phase. The Deathworlder fleet, battered and disorganized, began a slow retreat into uncharted space. Human fleets watched cautiously, weapons still raised, sensors scanning for any sign of ambush. The cost had been enormous. Planets scorched, fleets diminished, countless lives lost. Yet for the first time, humanity had fought back successfully, proving that survival was possible. Crew members of dreadnoughts and smaller ships shared quiet moments of relief, knowing their courage and strategy had turned the tide. Even as the enemy withdrew, fleet commanders remained vigilant, understanding that the universe offered no guarantees, and the battle for survival was far from over. Colonies began assessing the damage. Emergency teams worked tirelessly to restore basic infrastructure, repair orbital stations, and provide aid to those displaced. Civilians returned cautiously to rebuilt neighborhoods, learning to live with the memory of destruction. While hope returned, it was tempered by the realization that safety was no longer absolute. The illusion that humans were untouchable in the galaxy had been shattered, and everyone understood that vigilance and preparedness must replace complacency. Scientists and engineers continued analyzing alien technology, extracting lessons from encounters, ensuring that humanity would be better equipped for any future conflict. The war had taught humanity that courage, ingenuity, and adaptability were as vital as firepower. Pilots, engineers, and strategists shared stories of heroism and innovation, inspiring others to believe that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humans could survive and fight back. Small victories had compounded into hope. Every destroyed Deathworlder ship, every successful maneuver, every evacuated colony became a testament to human resilience. Humanity learned to respect the unpredictable, to anticipate the unknown, and to prepare for threats that could appear without warning. Communication networks were strengthened, linking fleets, colonies, and research stations, creating a web of intelligence that would detect anomalies early and coordinate rapid responses. Training programs were expanded, teaching new generations of pilots, engineers, and strategists the lessons learned from the brutal encounters. Civilian populations participated in preparation and recovery, understanding that survival depended on every individual contributing. The experience forged a new sense of unity, a collective determination that no threat, however powerful, could break the human spirit. Leadership across the colonies emphasized rebuilding, not just physically, but psychologically. People shared grief for lost lives, but also celebrated acts of courage. Innovation became a cornerstone of recovery, with engineers and scientists working to improve fleet designs, planetary defenses, and emergency response systems. Lessons from the dreadnought engagements were carefully documented, every strategy, success, and mistake analyzed, to ensure that humanity would never be caught unprepared again. The focus shifted from reactive defense to proactive planning, ensuring that colonies could withstand future attacks and respond effectively. Even as humans recovered, the memory of destruction lingered, reminding everyone that peace was fragile. Safety could never be assumed, and the universe remained full of unknown dangers. Fleet commanders continued patrols, scientists monitored deep space, and colonies implemented new protocols to ensure security. Humanity had faced annihilation and survived, learning that vigilance, courage, and adaptability were essential for survival. The dreadnoughts, once dormant relics, now symbolized hope, strength, and the enduring spirit of humans willing to fight for their place among the stars. The retreat of the Deathworlder fleet gave humans time to rebuild, but it also served as a warning that the galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and often hostile. No fleet, no planet, no technology could guarantee complete safety, but preparation, strategy, and collective effort could give humanity a fighting chance. People understood that survival was earned through action, courage, and constant readiness, not through assumptions or illusions. Humanity emerged from the battle scarred but stronger, more united, and more aware of the challenges that lay ahead. Every individual, from pilots to civilians, had contributed to this fragile victory. As fleets regrouped and colonies began reconstruction, humanity looked to the stars with cautious optimism. Eyes were no longer blind to the dangers lurking in the void, but the spirit to face them burned brighter than ever. Humans knew that they could be challenged again, that the Deathworlders or other unknown forces might return. Yet the first decisive victory had proven that strategy, courage, and ingenuity could overcome even the most terrifying threat. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer assumed. It had been fought for. The universe had shown its harshest face, but humans had endured, learning that the fight for survival was continuous, that vigilance, cooperation, and innovation were keys to enduring in a dangerous cosmos. The battle may have ended for now, but humanity's story continued, stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever new challenges the stars would bring. Every victory, every lesson, every act of courage reinforced a single truth. Humanity would not yield, and the struggle for survival and dominance among the stars had only just begun.